What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the Draftkings Picks and Prediction Show. It is officially Chase Sherman fight week. I cannot wait for this fight. Chase Sherman going against Carl Williams. And I think the winner of that fight is going to fight for the title potentially. So it's going to be a very good one. And then, of course, a really good main card outside of that. Adesanya, Pereira, Burns, Masvidal, Yanez, Font. We got Holland, Ponzinibbio, Rosas, Christian Rodriguez. Should be a very good card overall. Definitely looking forward to talking it over with you guys in the chat, and then also the guys on the panel, Weezy, Gordo, and Monk. We'll kick it to you first, Weezy. Are you looking forward to some Chase Sherman fight week?
Yes, as always, man. I broke down that fight last night on Just the Tip. I gave Chase all the shine that he absolutely deserves, and yeah, it's going to be a great fight in the middle of the card. The main card's fantastic. We got the debut of Jacqueline Amarim. Really interesting fight, so I'm looking forward to chopping it up with these guys.
We got Gordo as well. Gordo, are you looking forward to this card?
Yes, I am indeed happy to be back with you guys, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy a nice little week off. But happy to be back with you guys here, ready to break down some fights. A very fun DraftKings card, in my opinion, and one that I think is going to have a lot of upside, but overall a very entertaining card, in my opinion, and I think it should be a fun one.
Yep, absolutely. Should be a very good card. Monk, how are you doing? You looking forward to this card?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely, man. Looking forward to another pay-per-view card following the nice, long, and much-needed week off. We've got a banger of a main card, some great prelims as well. I'm really looking forward. Plus, I mean, you say Chase Sherman. Let's get ready for the Michelle Waterson Gomez. You know what I mean? We've got some top quality. That's exactly the reaction I wanted. So, yeah, looking forward to this one here.
Heck yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like this card, man. Top to bottom, we kick it off with Jacqueline Amarim. Looking forward to that fight, and then we end it with a great main event. Yeah, no complaints from me on this one for sure. All right, before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like on the stream, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. We do go live every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Also, be sure to check out Prize Picks. Use that promo code Pub Sports. We will touch on some Prize Picks mid-show, and yeah, lots of sticking out in Prize Picks this week, so can't wait to talk about that. But I say we get into it, and as always, we're going to start with our fights to target, and yeah, lots of things sticking out here for this one. So I'll kick it to you first, Weezy. Weezy, what is your favorite fight to target for UFC 287?
Yeah, I just went with one that's a little bit different, but I could see Nurden-Becca versus Garcia being a really good fight to target here. Garcia's fights are absolute pandemonium. He's got 4 fights in the UFC, but only 3.5 total minutes of Garcia's fights have taken place standing, okay? And in those 3.5 minutes, there's been 7 knockdowns that have happened. I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, like that, those kind of numbers you don't see anywhere. So if this guy's stepping into the cage, right, you either need to wrestle the shit out of him, get him down, hold him down, or you're just going to be in an absolute brawl and somebody's getting slept. So I feel like whoever wins this fight has got a really good chance of being optimal, because I think Garcia's only 7,300, and we saw what he did to Chase Hooper the last time out. And Nurden-Becca, even in a decision win, he probably gets 5 or 6 takedowns, a bunch of control time. So I could see him paying off his salary even in a decision win. But Nurden-Becca swings for the fences too. So I kind of feel like somebody's going to get slept here. Good fight to target.
Yep, I had that one as well, but there's plenty more to pick from. Gordo, which one are you targeting this week?
There are plenty to think of indeed, and I'm going to talk about let's talk about Pyfer versus Meerschaert as my fight to target. Minus 450, not to go the distance. Mr. Body Bags is the pride and joy of Mr. Dana White going out here after being the whole B Joe Pyfer speech, and he's getting a good test and step up in competition here because Gerald Meerschaert is no Alan Amedovski. I'll tell you that right now. But what this is a very, very fun fight. It's going to be fought at a very, very high pace. I think Joseph Pyfer has the ability to fight wherever the fight goes, whether that be on the ground, on the feet. But I do think he does so with some good fight ending intention. He's willing to take one to give one, and I do think he has the power to put out someone like Meerschaert who hasn't put out before. Flip side of things, Meerschaert, someone who is really killer to be killed most of the time. He has that ability to pull a submission win out of his ass at a lot of the time. So I think at 7.5 he does have some viability, but overall this fight should finish and it should score well in the process.
Sounds good. I also liked that one. But yeah, like I said, there's a ton of options. I'll give out one that I think can score very well either way, and that's going to be Raul Rosas Jr. going against Christian Rodriguez. I think there's going to be a lot of grappling in this matchup. I think Raul Rosas Jr. has a ton of takedown upside here, potential submission upside, and I think Rodriguez is going to have the big striking advantage. Like when this fight's on the feet, you potentially get a knockout, and I think Rodriguez is also potentially live for a submission as well. And I think this fight does end inside the distance, so I think it's a fight where we can see a lot of takedowns, some reversals, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring fight overall, no matter who wins it. And at 7,100, Christian Rodriguez, very solid value play there. And then as far as Rosas at 9,100, I think if he does win, it's potentially an early submission, or it's just a fight where he gets a ton of takedowns. So love that fight. Lots of grappling upside there. Monk, what is your favorite fight to target for this week?
I'll give you. I had all those on my list. I also have Yanez Font. That's a fantastic fight in my opinion to target. But I will give you everybody's favorite, man. We thought we almost lost. Thank goodness. Oh, let's pray to everything that we love and know. Chase Sherman stays on the card. I'm going to give you Chase Sherman against Carl Williams. This is probably going to go one of two ways. Either Carl Williams is going to ragdoll this dude for 15 minutes and put up another 120, 130 point performance. Because I'm sure if Lucas Brzeski can get up over and over again, Chase Sherman can likely get up over and over again. The problem is he has no takedown defense and will probably get taken down time and time again, which is why I love Carl Williams here. But if that doesn't happen, I mean, Carl Williams has one UFC fight, guys. I don't know if there's really hype on him per se, but if there is and it's not, good, Chase Sherman could potentially end this fight early. The only problem is he's 8,800 still, and Carl Williams is 9,500. Those are two insane prices to pay. Carl Williams could pay off his salary, I think. Chase Sherman is going to be a little bit more difficult. The only other thing I'll say, these what I call unnatural salaries, meaning two salaries that do not add up to $16,200. Someone makes optimal lineup from those fights 81% of the time since 2021. So there's definitely something in the water with these unnatural salaries. I would honestly target both sides. Don't sleep on Chase Sherman, and definitely play some Carl Williams too. So I love this fight as a fight to target.
Yep, I thought we gave 4 really good ones there, and I think there's even some more. We didn't even talk about the main event, which is crazy. But yeah, lots of good fights to target this week. Let's move on to the fights to fade. I will kick this one off. I'm going to go with Lupita Godinez, Cynthia Calvillo. It's plus 240. Fight doesn't go to decision. I just really struggle paying 9,200 for Lupita Godinez when I can go up and get Carl Williams. I can go down and get like a Rosas or a Pyfer. I think there's a lot better options there, and I think she can score well. I think she can potentially even get like a sneaky finish here, but I really struggle to pay that price tag for Godinez. And then as far as Cynthia Calvillo, just have really no interest at all whatsoever. So going to be fading this fight. Maybe it bites me, but it's a fight that I don't really see scoring all that well. Weezy, what is your favorite fight to fade this week?
Yeah, and my sources say that fight might be canceled due to total lack of interest as well. So that if you'd be getting one of those fighters on your roster, now they're not even going to fight.
Well, also, Calvillo needs to make weight. That's
not
be a struggle.
She really might not make weight. She had a miserable time making 115. The UFC forced her up to 125. Now she's trying to resurrect her career at the age of 36, moving back down to 115. Huge red flags. I'm going to give you Gastelum versus Curtis this week. I don't see a finish happening in this fight. I don't. Neither guy wrestles a lot. Curtis has attempted 0 takedowns in his UFC career, and Gastelum only averages 1.05 takedowns per 15 minutes on average. And Chris Curtis has got 100% takedown defense. So I see this primarily being a stand-up fight that goes to decision. So it should be safe to avoid, even at the price available for both fighters.
Yep, agreed. I did fade that one as well, Weezy. Monk, which fight are you fading for this week?
I'm going to give a little controversy, but it's paid off. I mean, I do this every single time this dude fights, and I'm very excited for this fight. But as far as DraftKings goes, the main event is something I will be looking to fade. Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira. Adesanya is one of the worst DraftKings players that you really can play overall. He is, hasn't made the optimal lineup in years at this point. Seriously, years. He is a very good cash play for the most part. He's 8-1 at 5-round middleweight fights, which is fantastic. But you put these two guys' stats together over, Izzy has in his last 5 and Alex in his last 4. We're scoring not even 5 points a minute, together combined, less than 5 points per minute, only 40 bonus points per fight. Only 2 of those 9 fights has someone either them or their opponents scored over 100 points. 1 first-round finish, 2 times someone's been optimal. This is at the very low end, like bottom 3 fights that I'm looking to target this week. Like I said, I'm super excited for it, and I hate the fact that I have to fade it again. And these salaries are fantastic. It's such that I'll probably have more Pereira than Adesanya, because Adesanya is just so poor lately as far as DraftKings scoring. I think he scores less than 2 points a minute in his last 5. If you'll bear with me for just 1 second, 2.04 points per minute in his last 5, 81 per win over his last 3 wins. Guys, he's very cheap this week, but I don't know if he can pay that off even in a win. So we're going to have to see a finish here, and we just have not seen that lately. So I'm going to be fading the main event.
Yeah, I don't hate like a sneaky fade on Adesanya. I don't know if I have the balls to fade Alex Pereira, though.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, the guy's a freaking monster. But yeah, I don't hate that Adesanya fade. I think it's going to be very high on, so I don't hate that. Gordo, what fight are you going to be fading this week?
Yeah, you can make a case for a lot of them. I circled originally. I have circled, sorry, the Gastelum versus Curtis fight, but I'll give you a different one. I also have a little less ownership on the Pinheiro versus Waterson Gomez fight. This is a spot where I'm also kind of leaning towards a dog to win the fight and in general. And when you're expecting me to go pay up and get someone like Pinheiro, and sure, her path to victory does include probably takedowns and stuff like that. But to say I'm going to have her over a Pyfer, over a Yanez, or people like that is really hard for me to get to her this week. And we look at historically, how has Waterson scored in her 3-round decision wins? 75, 76, 83, right? So both these fighters on a slate to me that is this volatile, I can't really get to them as easily, so I will be fading this one as well.
Don't hate that one whatsoever. All right, let's move on to our fighter to fade, and we will stick with you, Gordo. What fighter are you fading this week?
Fighter to fade for me this week is a tough one, because I had circled down Pinheiro here up top, but we're going to give you Chris Curtis for here at $8,000 for me. And this could be one that I see a lot of people on Curtis. I see a lot of the love for, but we're talking about DraftKings again on a slate that is this volatile here. A guy who I don't really see finishing this fight is minus 200 to go to the distance, and he has no takedown equity at all. And a Gastelum's a guy who's never really been knocked out. So at $8,000, he doesn't have any of those extra points here, in my opinion. I don't think he has much equity. It's just volume. And even at that, he's more of a counter striker in my eyes. I don't think he goes out there and puts up a good of a performance. In his 1 decision win, he only scored, I think, 78 points. So for that reason, he is someone I'm fading at 8K.
Sounds good. Monk, what fighter are you fading this week?
I'm going to give you one half of the curtain jerker here. I'm going to give you Jacqueline Amarim to fade.
Wow.
She is 9,000. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I don't take it personally.
Yeah, I am.
Well, just imagine how Na Liang feels, and we'll leave it at that.
Fair enough.
Jacqueline Amarim, I can't imagine paying $9,000 for sure. If you're looking at her Instagram photos, you're like, I would pay $9,000 to put her in a roster. She has 6 professional fights, guys. She's going against Sam Hughes here. Sam Hughes, only 12 professional fights, but 73 total minutes inside the UFC octagon. She is scrappy. She has never been finished in the UFC. Actually, that's not true. I take that back. She has been KO'd once in her 4 losses, but she's extremely, extremely tough to finish. Sam Hughes. Jacqueline Amarim, the only stats we have from her is a strength of schedule over her last 5. Her last 5 opponents combined record is 12-14. So that's pretty much a can crusher. Her strength of schedule is less than 50 on a 100-point scale. That is one of the actually, it is the worst strength of schedule on the entire card. I'm going to have to see it first from Jacqueline. Sam Hughes is tough, scrappy, like I said, and I wouldn't, if Jacqueline can't get her game going in the first, 2, 3, 4 minutes, maybe first round, Sam Hughes could easily turn this thing around. Also, Jacqueline is 9K. Just pay up $100 or get Raul Rosas. Pay down to $8,900 to get Wolverine. I mean, if you think Amarim's going to come out here and start Hughes in the first round, then cool, put her in your lineup. I just think she's too expensive for a newcomer. Newcomers also have a 40% win rate in the UFC. So I think she could get it done, but I need to see what she's going to offer as far as DraftKings scoring before I pay 9K for her.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Pew pew.
Slander.
Shots fired.
Slander
Shots
on Amarim.
fired.
I'll be talking about her later down the show for sure.
I thought you were going to say after the show.
Both. But we can I'm going to go with Rob. No, We're on Fighter to Fame. I'm gonna go with Gilbert Burns. Sorry, the Amarim hate just it caught me off guard. I'm gonna go with Gilbert Burns here, 9,600. Like that's a steep price. Like a lot of people are expecting Burns to go out there and just sub Masvidal like he's Neil Magny or something. Like Magny's been subbed 5 or 6 times. Masvidal hasn't been subbed since 2009. I think Burns wins the fight for sure. It's just my goodness, I don't think he's gonna go out there and starch Masvidal in less than a round. So I think Burns can put up a respectable score, but I really struggle getting to that price tag. Like I'd rather save salary and go down and get a Rosas, like an Amarim, a Pyfer. I think there's much better options than $9,600 for Gilbert Burns this week. So I'm gonna be fading him. Pretty easy fade for me there. Weezy, who are you fading this week?
Yeah, well, so get ready for some more slander because I'm fading Chase Sherman this week.
Oh shit.
Yeah, man, it's. Look, I mean, this hurts me as much as anybody, you know, because like we talked about this last night on Just the Tip. The guy's 4-10 in the UFC, but all 10 of those losses are bullshit. His opponents have either cheated, he's gotten robbed on the scorecards. You know, he could easily be 14-0. Easily. A couple of breaks here and there, he's 14-0 in the UFC. But he doesn't have a ground game, man. When you're getting drowned by Fat Collier and Fat Romanov, the way that Williams wrestles, it's going to be very difficult for Chase to find any time at distance striking range where he does his best work. So I just don't see him being able to really get his fight going at any point. And even if he does get his fight going, the judges will rob him, the ref will fuck him, and something will happen. And Williams is going to get his hand raised. So, you know, you're going to have to avoid Chase Sherman this week. I'm sorry.
Man, poor Chase Sherman, you know, getting to fight Chris Barnett and then having to fight Carl Williams. I mean, that's a big turn of events there for Chase Sherman.
Dude, you know, I mean, you're training for a guy who doesn't wrestle at all in Barnett. And then, you know, Barnett has to drop out. And who's his manager?
I don't know.
You know, I mean, who takes that fight on short notice? I don't understand. I mean, I know he's got like a new 6-fight deal or something because he took the Romanov fight on short notice. So I think Chase is the kind of guy who will fight anybody at any time. But man, it's a tall order for Chase this week.
Very tall order for sure. All right, let's move on to our favorite dog. I'm going to kick this one off. I like Rob Font quite a bit here, 7,700. The durability is the one thing that scares me quite a bit. But man, Rob Font landing 6.38 significant strikes per minute. This is in a huge sample size against real competition. Rob Font's taken a step down, going from Jose Aldo and going from Marlon Vera. And then Adrian Yanez is taking a big, giant step up. This is going to be the toughest test of Adrian Yanez's career by a mile. But yeah, Rob Font, the durability is a little bit iffy there. I think he could potentially get hurt here. I don't know if he gets knocked out, but if this fight does go the full 3 rounds, I expect Font to be the minute winner here. And if he does win this fight, I think he puts up a big score with that volume. And I think he has sneaky takedown upside as well. So love me some Rob Font. Love this fight in general, but I do want to have some more Rob Font at 7,700. I like him a lot as a dog this week. Gordo, who's your favorite dog this week?
Yeah, I'm looking at underdogs this week. It's not necessarily who's going to be safe, but who, for me, it's people with high upside, people who can go out there and score well for me. And I'm looking at Steve Garcia this week. I mean, that fight I think is going to be absolutely electric. I think it's going to be super fast paced. You guys mentioned the stats with him never really fighting on the feet, and probably a good thing because when he does get dropped sometime. But I do think this fight's going to be just complete. I don't even know if I can find the right words for this one. And I'm sure there's a chance that Nuerdenbeck is able to take him down and control him. But I think that when we're looking at volatility and high upside from all these people around him, I think he's got way more upside than the Hughes, Rodriguez, and Calvillos of the world. So for me at 7.3, facing a guy who's been finished in 80% of his losses, I don't mind some Garcia as an underdog.
Yep, I think that fight has a ton of upside either way. Monk, who is your favorite dog this week?
Shout out Big Show. No one's ever compared me to Triple H before, so I feel like I got to spit water up in the air here in a minute. Well, to avoid Brady's ire, I was seriously going to give you Sam Hughes. That is a great underdog pick in my opinion, but Brady, I can't. Not 2 times in a row. I don't want you to blow your top. So I'll echo what you said, actually. Rob Font. I really like this dude as an underdog. You think back to that Cheeto fight, and you're like, man, Rob Font looked like he got absolutely smashed, and Cheeto looked like he didn't have a scratch. Well, Rob Font landed 271 strikes on Cheeto Vera, who's just otherworldly, and took it like he did nothing at all. He has been knocked down 5 times in his last 2 fights. But man, I don't think Adrian Yanez is quite at the level. I mean, his last 2 fights fought has been Jose Aldo and Chito Vera. I think Adrian Yanez could be on his way to that level. I do like the guy as a fighter. I'm excited to see what he can do, but I don't think he's quite there yet. I think this is a great challenge for him against Rob Font. We're going to see what Rob Font is doing at just under 36 years old. So this is going to be a big spot for Rob. He has made the optimal lineup in 2 out of his past 3 fights, because he did make optimal in that Marlon Vera loss, guys. He scored 114 points in a loss. 114 points. So you love to see that with guys that you're looking to put in your lineups. He's only 7,700 this week. That is a fantastic salary, almost 14 average value per win. And like I said, his value in the loss was astronomical. So I'm right here with you, Brady. Give me Rob Font for a great dog. And I'm going to have a ton of this fight overall.
Yep, absolutely. Right there with you. Weezy, who's your favorite dog this week?
I'm going to give you Alex Pereira this week. I feel like it's a real safe pick. I'm going the opposite way as Gordo. Gordo's going for like a high upside guy in Garcia who could just like break the slate. But I kind of feel like Pereira doesn't have much of a chance to break the slate at all. But you're getting 25 minutes, and he's going up against a guy in Adesanya who couldn't finish a glass of water. So no matter what, in my opinion, unless something really freaky happens, you'll get 25 minutes out of Alex Pereira. And in that last fight against Adesanya, I think he scores around 55 points, even in a loss. So it's a nice, safe underdog pick. But also, I mean, we know what kind of power Pereira has. So you could also get that knockout. And that knockout could come whenever the left hook lands. It could be the first second of the fight. It could be the last second of the fight, second round, third round, fourth round. Either way, you got that upside with Pereira, and you know you're getting a guy that's going to go 25 minutes because Adesanya is just not finishing anybody.
Yep, agreed. I like Pereira myself. All right, we'll move on to our prize picks section here. Let me pull up the banner, and there it is. Yep, guys, sign up on Prize Picks using promo code PUBSports. We've been pretty hot lately since we've been doing this. Lots of spots sticking out this week. I'm curious to hear what you guys have. I'll kick it to you, Gordo, first. What are you liking for Prize Picks this week?
All right, I'm drawing my line in the sand. This is the last time. If this messes up, never again, because I'm going to get PTSD just the same way you do, Brady. I know you're not going back to it, but I will. Give me Lupi Godinez over 85 fantasy score. I know we can't trust her sometimes, but I do think that line's set too low for someone who does have that wrestling upside, for someone who is as strong as she is, against someone in Calvillo who, doesn't seem like her heart's necessarily in it. So give me the over 85.5 fantasy score for Lupi Godinez.
Over 80, what is it, 85 you said?
Yes, it is.
All right, for me, there's so much that sticks out. I'm going to go with the Kelvin Gastelum. I'm not sure if it's still 56.5 significant strikes, but I did these on Monday. But I'm going to go with the Kelvin Gastelum over in significant strikes. 56.5 is what I have it at. Might have moved a little bit, but yeah, I think this fight's going 3 rounds. I think this fight is going to take place on the feet. Chris Curtis, incredible takedown defense of 100%. And I think over the course of 3 rounds, yeah, Kelvin can easily get over the 56.5 significant strike mark. Probably can see him even putting upwards like 70 or 80 even. So unless there's a finish, which I don't really think there is, I think this hits pretty easily. Weezy, anything sticking out on Prize Picks this week for you?
Yeah, I was going to give you guys for the under in fight minutes. Jacqueline Amarim under 12.5 fight minutes. That's just an under 2.5. I like that spot this week. I'm really high on Amarim. When Sam Hughes has had her success in the UFC octagon, it's been against women that can't grapple a lick. And that's Estela Nunez and Elise Reed. This woman, Amarim's training at American Top Team. She's trained with the Brazilian wrestling team. She's a second-degree black belt, multiple-time champion in the Worlds and Pan Ams in purple belt level, brown belt level. Now she's a second-degree black belt. I just think it's going to be a different level of grappling. I think when this thing gets to the ground, she subs Sam Hughes. I think that fight's going under 12.5 minutes.
Yep, I like it. I had that one marked down as well. Monk, what do you like for Prize Picks this week?
Gave you a risky one last week that paid off with the over 24.75 in the main event. We're going to keep it risky. We're going to give you another. I bet you didn't think you guys were going to get 2 Kelvin Gastelum plays on the Prize Picks segment. I think he lands a takedown against Chris Curtis. I think the takedown defense gets off of 100%. I think Gastelum lands at least one takedown. The over-under set at 0.5. And I really think he gets it done here, man. Chris Curtis, Gastelum hasn't gone to his wrestling a ton, but I think he might have to if he's starting to get countered up and pieced up by Curtis here. So I really think he can land one sloppy takedown.
Yeah, I think he's going to wrestle. It just will he be able to get that takedown? I mean, if he attempts enough of them, he might be able to get one. But yeah, so we got the over on the takedowns of Gastelum. We have the over on the significant strikes of Gastelum. We have the under on the Jacqueline Amorim, 12.5 minutes. And then we have the over on the Lupita Godinez fantasy score there. So those are 4. Let's see if we can go 4 for 4. Be sure to sign up on Prize Picks using promo code Pub Sports. Moving on, we have our favorite GPP play of the card. We'll start with you, Gordo. What are you liking as far as a GPP play goes this week?
Yeah, I'm taking the young gun here in Raul Rosas Jr. I mean, the guy just fights at a relentless pace. He will do whatever it takes to get the fight to the ground. And someone in Rodriguez who is not only slimy on the ground, but who is gives up certain positions. Not only do I think that Rosas has the opportunity to maybe hop on one of those, but even if he doesn't, I think it's rinse and repeat takedowns. I know that Rosas is not the type of guy who wants to go out there and strike for 15 minutes. He will do whatever it takes. And I do think that in doing so, he has some very, very high potential. I think that at such a young age, he's got that cardio, he's got the desire. He's going to go in there and he's going to go out and really fight for your salary this week at 9.1. I do think he has one of the highest ceilings on the slate.
Yep, I like it. For me, I'm going to go with Jacqueline Amorim. I know Monk doesn't want to hear it, but 9,000. I just think if she wins this fight, I think it's a first-round finish. 6 fights for Amorim, all 6 of them coming in the first round. Weezy mentioned the credentials. Like, the credentials are off the charts, and it's only going to take one takedown, I think. Like, if this fight hits the mat at any point, I think the fight's going to be over very shortly after, and Sam Hughes sports a 47% takedown defense, so odds are this fight is going to hit the mat, and when it's on the mat, I mean, Sam Hughes has never seen anything like this grappling that she's about to see on Saturday. So I like Amorim first round finish, and I think she puts a monster score at 9,000. Weezy, who's your favorite GPP play this week?
Yeah, it's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, Jacqueline Amorim. She's going to get it done, you guys. I really like her early finishing potential here. Even if that doesn't happen, she should be able to pile up takedowns, control time, strikes. So either way, I think 9,000 is a bargain, and I'm definitely going to be rostering her.
Amorim Fam Club, let's go. Monk, who are you liking for a GPP play?
Yeah, you guys are right. It could end up being a very simp whole fight for Jacqueline.
Quiet you.
Gordo took mine. Raul Rosas Jr. Love that pick. I'll give you Carl Williams, to be honest. I'm with Weezy on this one. I think Chase Sherman probably gets his ass shaved, or somewhere close to that. I know Amorim is your pick, but listen to these pacing numbers from Carl Williams. I know it's one fight. I know it's against Lucas Bresky, but if we're talking levels, I mean, Lucas Bresky's probably here. Chase Sherman's probably here, and the top's like way up here. So, let's not overvalue Chase Sherman here, but Carl Williams, 6 points a minute inside the distance when he fought Bresky. Chase Sherman over 14 UFC 3-round heavyweight fights, gives up 6.19 points inside the distance. Guys, I think that's all there is to it. I mean, Carl Williams, hopefully Chase Sherman can keep standing up. Hopefully he's been not skipping leg day. We want this guy to keep standing up so he can keep getting taken down to the ground. Carl Williams put up 130 against Lucas Bresky. There might be value at this $9,500 guy here. Again, 81% when unnatural salaries fight each other. I love this fight, and I really like the favorite here. So I love all your guys' picks, but I will just add Carl Williams to that list.
Sounds good to me. Speaking of Carl Williams, we're going to go to our favorite cash play, and I am going with Carl Williams, 9,500. I think he's the first or maybe the second biggest favorite on the card now. It looks like money's coming in on Chase Sherman for some reason, but I think it's a pretty simple fight. Carl Williams is going to wrestle, and Chase Sherman has the worst ground game in the UFC. I think Carl Williams has probably the biggest upside on the entire slate. He can chain wrestle, and I think he's live for a sneaky finish just because Chase Sherman is so bad on the mat. I mean, getting submitted by Jake Collier is just unforgivable. So I like Williams quite a bit. Gonna have a ton of them. I think he's solid in cash, and I think he should go out there and win this fight pretty easily. Gordo, who's your favorite cash play for this week?
Today we are talking about Ignacio Bahamondes, and for me, that's a cash play, but probably limited to that. I think he's a guy who's going to be winning this fight at a very high clip. I think he has levels above in the striking over someone like Trey Ogden. The problem is, Triaga's been durable, so I don't know how high the ceiling is for Ignacio Bahamondes. I don't know how often he gets a finish. I don't know how often he's able to go out there and accrue any either takedown or knockdown points. But to me, he just has one of the highest floors out of anybody in the slate. For that reason, he is a very good cash play because of it. He lands 8.33 strikes landed per minute. The guy has a ton of volume. I think he's able to win this fight at a high clip, and it gives him a high floor in doing so.
Yep, sounds good. I'm pretty confident in him myself. Weezy, who is your favorite cash play this week?
It's Carl Williams for me too. And even at 9,500, I could see this guy paying off his salary and then some. Chase got finished by Fat Collier and Romanov because he doesn't have a ground game. And Williams will be taking him down, landing ground and pound. I think Carl actually probably gets this one done early and drowns Chase late in the first. You know, the thing about a short notice fight for a heavyweight, especially one like Carl Williams, is there's no weight cut. So if you're just in shape, you're ready to go. And especially if the matchup is in your favor. And this is the kind of matchup that could really behoove him, because we've seen Chase just have nothing when the fight gets to the ground. And he hasn't spent much time there. But when we've seen him on the ground, the fight's over shortly thereafter. So a guy like Williams, and another thing I want to bring up about Williams, a lot of people are talking like that he has bad conditioning. Dude, that was his UFC debut, and he probably had an adrenaline dump. Watch every other Carl Williams fight. This guy wrestles for the full 3 rounds. He's breathing through his nose in the third. I don't think we're ever going to see Carl Williams that tired again. That probably is a one-off. So even though he killed Bresky, even though he won all 3 rounds cleanly, it didn't look great optically, but I think it's going to look better going forward.
Could not agree more. Monk, favorite cash play for this week?
I love all those you picked. I had one more on my list, and that is, well, actually 2. I'm going to give you Gilbert Burns. No. Yeah. I'm going to give you Gilbert Burns. 9,600, I think cash lineup is the only spot you can really play him. He's going to have a hard time, in my opinion, paying off that salary generally. But then you look at Jorge Masvidal's numbers of points he's allowed per loss in his last 5 fights. Well, I guess in his last 3 losses. 138.87 is what he's giving up. Yes, he's fighting Colby. Yes, he's fighting Kamaru twice. So I do understand that's probably a bit dramatic. 138 points per loss going against those guys. But honestly, Gilbert Burns, man, do I think he's going to run through him like, Neil? No, I don't think so. That said, Jorge Masvidal has talked about retirement this week. You never want to put stock in retiring fight. If I lose, I'm going to retire. That's not a good mindset to have. He's been going all across the country for the last week. Well, before last weekend, promoting game bred fighting, going on podcasts, going on all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying he's not training, but there's only 24 hours in a day. So it's definitely taking some time out of. I just wish I knew how seriously he was taking this one. And I'm pretty sure I know how seriously Gilbert Burns is taking this one. So I'm going to give you Burns here. I don't think it's going to be as close as everyone thinks. I could be wrong about that, but it's going to be difficult putting stock in a fighter that's talking about retirement already. So give me Gilbert Burns as a favorite cash play this week.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think he's going to win. Dixon saying this is now at heavyweight, though, Weezy. Yeah, they're heavyweights, right?
Yeah, they're heavyweights. Yeah. But I think what Dixon is saying is that Carl fought at 205 up until Dana White Contender Series. But even when he fought Lawson, the Penn State wrestler, at heavyweight on Dana White Contender Series, went the full 3 rounds and wasn't tired at all.
Yeah, he didn't gas out. His cardio looked really good in that fight.
Yeah, and that was a short notice fight too. So I think that it's just my opinion. I might be completely wrong.
I think your opinion's right.
What's that?
I think your opinion's right.
Yeah, I just think he had, an adrenaline dump. When you're on the big stage for the very first time in front of a live crowd, like he was for the Bresky fight, I think he just got way more tired than I've ever seen him. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's move on to our favorite value play then. We will start with you, Gordo. What are you liking for some value this week?
Yeah, I apologize for this pick because you guys have already talked about him a lot, but Rob Font for me for value, 7.7. This guy just throws way too much value to go over, way too much volume to go overlooked this week. He averages 6.38 strikes landed per minute, including score. At least listen to these fights like stats, just looking at them. 176, 149, 271. Those are the strikes he landed in his last 3 fights. The guy throws insane volume. There's a ton of value in him at 7.7, especially against a guy in Yanez who's a bit of a slower starter and taking a step up in competition. 7.7 is the cheapest we've seen Font in a while, and I think there's a good reason for that.
Yep, I like it. I'm going with Alex Pereira here. 7,900. I really like this matchup for him. I think he has a really good chance to win this fight again and win it by knockout potentially. I mean, this guy hits like an absolute truck. He's going to pressure forward. I don't see Adesanya having much success with the wrestling. I know he's been talking about that all week. He's going to go out there and wrestle him. I just don't think Adesanya is a good wrestler. He's completed, I think, one takedown in his entire UFC career. Yes, it was against Pereira, but Adesanya was 1-4 in that matchup on takedowns. I like this fight to get extended. I like Pereira to eventually touch the chin of Adesanya and get another knockout win here. I think 7,900 is a pretty solid salary for Pereira this week. Weezy, who's your favorite value play this week?
I got Font as well. And, Font's landing 6.38 significant strikes per minute. But when you strip out the control time for Font, which is over 25% of his fights, and just look at distance, it's 7.54 significant strikes per minute. So that's and that's over a sample size for Rob Font of over 130 minutes spent at distance, right? That's just crazy volume. You're getting him at a discount. He's fighting a guy in Yanez who will never attempt a takedown. So if Font wants this to take place at distance striking range, you're probably going to be racking up about 7 distance strikes per minute, right? And then if he doesn't, if he wants to wrestle, that's even better for the Rob Font side because he could be racking up 5 points for every single takedown that he gets. So, and we've seen Font get 12 takedowns, 32 attempts. He averages over 1 per 15 minutes. So he can wrestle. And we just haven't seen Yanez really been tested in the wrestling yet. So that's another way that Font could not just pile up volume on the feet, but he could score points by mixing in the grappling as well. So I think he's a really great person to target this week, and he's never been finished by knockout in his entire career of 25 fights, fighting a bunch of guys that are all Yanez's level and above.
Yep, Dixon just compared Font to Marlon Moraes. I don't get that. I don't understand that.
Yikes.
Moraes has been knocked out like 7 times.
Oh yeah. Font's never been knocked out, but he's like what Dixon's saying there too is that 5 knockdowns in the last 2 fights. That it's easy to see. When you get to this point, he's almost 36 years old. He's a bantamweight. That chin might be starting to crack, and maybe that's why they fed him to Yanez.
Yep, it could definitely happen. But Big Show sent me this. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's an edit, Triple H edit.
Oh yeah, I need that.
Oh, nice.
That's
Monk has a new profile picture.
I don't appreciate how you took some of my mask off, but I understand why you had to do it.
I like it. No, I could see it. I like it.
Absolutely, that's fantastic, dude. Fuck hell yeah.
Shout out.
I seriously need that. I need that forwarded to me.
Yes, I got you.
I gotta show my girlfriend what I look like now.
Monk, who you like it for value this week?
I'll go ahead and give you someone we haven't really talked about, and maybe that's for good reason. But in my opinion, you can never count out Gerald Meerschaert, GM3, $7,500. I mean, he's going against the newcomer Pyfer here. What if Pyfer just has too much confidence and couldn't you see him just getting Meerschaert down, and then he just goes down? He gets a little too close. He gets a little too excited in that ground and pound, and all of a sudden Meerschaert's legs go over his shoulders. You're like, what the hell is happening here? Anything could happen in a Gerald Meerschaert fight. He's shown it time and time again, and not just a one-off. I probably think Pyfer's going to win, but if Meerschaert wins at 7,500, I think he is fantastic potential value. Has made the optimal lineup in 2 out of his past 5 fights. 5 fights in which he is 4-1, only losing to Krzysztof Jotko by decision. It wasn't really a close fight, but he's beaten, who could forget the Muradov fight? Beat Bruno Silva. What a fantastic fight that was. So yeah, as I said, never count out GM3. If he wins, the value here is going to be crazy, and I really think he's going to be underowned. People love when Dana White says be Joe Pyfer. So I think people are going to be all over Joe Pyfer and forget about our guy GM3.
Yep. You can never count out Gerald Meerschaert. No matter how bad of a matchup it is for Gerald Meerschaert, you can never ever count him out. He's always a dog, and he can always win the fight. But I was scrolling across Twitter, and apparently Joe Pyfer bet his life on a knockout this weekend. His life.
His life?
So if he doesn't win by knockout, he's gonna someone's gonna come in and slit his throat in the octagon or what?
Apparently, I mean, he bet his life on a knockout.
His
too far,
bookie must
Gordo?
be like the Yakuza.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
wild. That
His
is
life.
wild.
Well, I mean, it didn't go well for Justin James. Let's just all pour out a little liquor for Justin James.
Yeah, but a little bit of a difference between James and Pyfer. Yeah. Listen to this. Brady, if Yanez KOs Font, I get Amarim. She can't be your baby anymore. If he survives, you keep her. That's a deal. I think Font does survive, and I get to keep Amarim. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Let's go down to our dart throw. There's a couple sticking out here. Let's start with you, Monk. What is your dart throw for this week?
Now, I don't think this is actually going to happen, but I'll give you some of Santiago Ponzinibbio. This is strictly a Kevin Holland bad fight IQ play, all right? You can't have 0% Ponzinibbio in this fight. He could be washed. I've heard at least one person say that this week, and I don't disagree with that per se. He's had a ton of fights in the octagon, man. 2-3 in his last 5. Could be 1-4 if he didn't finish Morono in the last 3 minutes. I mean, he was clearly losing that fight. Well, actually, that's not true. I mean, statistically, he wasn't clearly losing, but he had been knocked down in that fight and was really slowing down towards the end there. So I like Kevin Holland to win, but much like you can't count out GM3 no matter who he's fighting, you can never count out Kevin Holland's opponent no matter who he's fighting. I love Kevin Holland, but man, he makes some interesting decisions sometimes. So give me Santiago Ponzinibbio as a dart throw.
Yep, I get it. Fading the terrible fight IQ of Kevin Holland, I absolutely give it. For me, I'm going to go with the cheapest guy on the slate. It's going to be one Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, I think this line should be just a lot closer. The salary should be a lot closer. Jorge Masvidal, really good takedown defense. His last couple fights, he's fighting Colby, he's fighting Kamaru Usman. I mean, he's taken a slight step down here against Gilbert Burns. Yeah, I think Burns probably does win this fight. He probably does get the fight down to the mat and control Masvidal. But if it turns out Gilbert Burns cannot take down Masvidal, it's not going to look like a $6,600 fighter. Burns has shown chin issues in the past as well, and Masvidal can hit hard. So, yeah, 6,600. I think it's worth some shots here at that price tag. Weezy, who's your favorite dart though this week?
Yeah, you and me both, Brady. I got Masvidal too. The price is right. I think this line is crazy wide. The narrative, where the narrative is for Masvidal, I get where the line is, but boy, narrative is a bad reason to bet lines, especially if you're going to be the one laying minus 500. And then the fight happens. You're like, oh shit, Masvidal wasn't checked out, and guess what? When you've got 50 professional fights like Jorge Masvidal has, like when there's footage of you at the age of 18 fighting in Kimbo Slice's backyard, maybe you can be a little bit mentally checked out and still show up on fight day, because you've been doing this your whole life. Yeah, doing it against Gilbert Burns, probably not a good idea to be going in there, not training your hardest or whatever, but we don't know if Masvidal's been training hard. And guess what? If these narrative things that people are throwing around this week are dead wrong, or even if they're right and we find that Masvidal, it just really doesn't matter. He doesn't really need to be checked in mentally in order to go into the cage and perform. Some people just do that. And Masvidal might be one of those guys. So even in a loss at 6,800, he could score you some decent points. So it's not the worst dart throw. Frees up a shit ton of salary for you to go up there and get those studs like Pyfer, like Rosas, like Amarim, like Williams.
Yeah, there's been worse dart throws before, like Jamie Pickett versus Bo Nickel. That was probably a worse dart throw, and stuff like that. So yeah, I like it. Gordo, who's your favorite dart throw this week?
I have to echo everything you guys just said. Jorge Masvidal, that salary, I mean, his last 5 wins, he scored over 100 every time, but I don't want to go on too much about that. Let me just take a few seconds to say the real dart throw this week, and please don't come for my head for this one, but Chase Sherman. And that's purely predicated on ownership. He's 8.8K as a huge underdog. He's going to go extremely overlooked. And what's his win condition? Well, I know you talked about being an adrenaline dump, but you have to think his win condition is finding a finish somewhere there, right? And someone like Chase Sherman, who does have certain power, maybe he's got more in the tank that we don't know of. I'm not saying he wins. I'm saying that if he does, it's going to be at extremely low ownership, and you have the chance to have a very, very unique lineup in that case. So there's a dart throw for you.
Yep, and I agree. I think he's going to be super low owned, and I think it's a fight you got to target. Like, it's a heavyweight fight that both guys have upside in wins there. So, yep, don't hate it whatsoever. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go over our lineups from 2 weeks ago, and then we're going to give our lineups for this week, and then we'll answer any questions, give our quick picks, and then head out of here. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, type them in the chat. I did see a couple questions that I'll get to, but results from 2 weeks ago. Here we go. And we have in fourth place, we have Uncle Weezy. He had Manel Kopp, who shit the bed, scoring 0 points, 8,900. And Jaquani, 16. Corey Sandhagen, 120. Preston Parsons, 50. Victor Altamirano, 28. And then Marlon Vera, 26, scoring 302.71. And third place.
Altamirano scored more than 28.
I said Marlon Vera. Altamirano scored 88.
Okay. My bad.
You're good. I had third place with Vergara, 111. And Jaquani, 16. Sandhagen, 120. Salvador, 31. Parsons, 50. And then Lingo, 19, scoring 350.57. And second place was Monk with Vergara, 111. And Jaquani, 16. Sandhagen, 120. Preston Parsons, 50. Altamirano, 88. Alex Pereira also shit the bed, scoring 0. And then Monk put up 387.66. And then in first place was Gordo. Vergara, 111. Lutz, 14. Sandhagen, 120. Parsons, 50. Altamirano, 88. Lingo, 19, scoring 405.27. So, yeah, not the best week at all, but Gordo, you were able to get it done.
I was, and that's probably the only time I'll ever say thank you to Alex Pereira, because I was pretty low owned on that fight. But no, truly a unfortunate one, and we'll be better this week for sure.
Yeah, I definitely was not low owned on that one, so that sucked, and I hate when that happens. But overall, we are 10 cards in, and in fourth place we have Monk with 3,843 DraftKings points. Weezy third place with 4,052 DraftKings points. In second place, me with 4,260. And then first place, Gordo with 4,449 DraftKings points. I am 188 behind Gordo. Weezy is 396 behind Gordo. And then Monk is 605 behind Gordo. Gordo, you are still in first place, 10 cards in.
10 cards in. We got a long way to go, my friends. It should be a fun one. And with the lineup I have right in front of me, it may be closer by the end of it.
Speaking of that lineup, Gordo, let's hear it. What do you got?
Well, we're going to change this because I want some Rob Font in here, but this is complete stars and scrubs, because we have not only Jorge Masvidal down low, but we also have Santiago Ponzinibbio, counting on that failure of Kevin Holland. That allows me to go up and get Joseph Pyfer, Raul Rosas Jr., Carl Williams, and you get a choice between the ladies. I'm going to take the Canadian Lupe Godinez, but you could definitely switch to Amorim as well.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're pretty close. I as well went Jorge Masvidal. I as well went Carl Williams. I went Rosas Jr. I went Pyfer, but then I went Rob Font and then Alex Pereira. And I'm very close between going with Pyfer or Amorim, so I might change it, but right now I'm sticking with Joe Pyfer there in that lineup. Weezy, what do you got for this week?
I knew we'd have the same fucking lineup, but we don't exactly have it. I've got Amorim instead of Pyfer. So I've got Carl Williams. I've got Rosas Jr. I got Amorim, I got Pereira, I got Font, and Masvidal.
Okay, yeah, so I'll just keep my Pyfer then, and then we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we're really close. My goodness,
I knew it. I knew we were going to have very similar lineups this week after Stat Diggers.
Well, when you got a bunch of Amorims jumping fences in your dreams, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I'm saying?
That is true. Monk, what do you got this week?
I also have Carl Williams, Raul Rosas Jr., Joseph Pyfer, Alex Pereira, Steve Garcia, and the Amorim, the Dream Killer, Sam Hughes. Let's go, baby.
The Dream Killer. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, we'll see. We'll answer some questions, and then we will go over our quick picks. We can't forget the quick picks, or I will get yelled at by people. We can give this one to Gordo. Gordo, if Jorge Masvidal wins, do you think he finishes?
Personally, I think that is the case right there, because I do think that Burns just hasn't finished equity in his own right, but he has definitely more decision equity, whether it be with the takedowns or control time, or in my opinion, if this is on the feet for a long period of time, I don't think necessarily that Burns is going to have too much success. I think that Masvidal is going to need to knock it on the feet, because it's not going to be on the feet for very long, if you know what I mean. So personally, I think he does need to finish.
All right, we'll send this one to Weezy. Weezy, Propaholic is saying, what's good, guys? So what's good?
What's good, man? Oh man, it's UFC 287. It's a good card. It's a good card for gambling. It's a good card for some to see whether Pereira is gonna get that repeat win over Adesanya. It's good that we get to see Jacqueline Amorim make her debut here, and we get to see it's Chase Sherman fight week, you guys. I mean, come on, things are good right now.
Yep, for sure. I can take this one. Is Vinicius Salvador a bum? Yeah, I lean towards, yeah, he's probably a bum. But I think he's an exciting fighter, and I can't wait to see who he fights next. Monk, this one can go to you. Did they cut Alex Perez yet? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Uh-oh, got him.
Yes.
Got him.
Damn it.
Got him.
You see, Alex Perez is continuing to fuck me over.
Yep.
This is all Alex Perez's fault. He's cut out of my life completely. I don't care about the I'm just blacking out his fights. You know, the NFL blacks out like Jacksonville Jaguars games because none of you Floridians go to the games. That's what I'm doing with Alex Perez. He's blacked out for me for life. For life.
Got him.
Got me. I'm so flustered. Oh my god. I am just flop sweat, everything. Alex Perez did me dirty 2 weeks in a row. Fuck.
2 weeks in a row. All right. Last one. Gordo, Nick is saying I'll be in person. I'll be live in person there, I believe. Any good live bet fighters to look at?
Yeah, I always do a list of potential cardio issues down the line here. And for me, the three that I have that have potential cardio issues, I know Weezy already mentioned the adrenaline dump, but people with potential cardio issues are Williams. So you can look at live bet on Sherman's, on Pinheiro. So you can look at a live bet on Waterson Gomez, and then cardio issues for, who's the third one? Amorim, because you haven't really seen it out of round one. So if any of them seem to fade down the stretch, you can look at their opponents, maybe get some good odds on them. But really, this isn't one where I'm really circling any to live bet for sure, but those are the three that do have cardio issues, which is usually what I look for.
All right, there you go. All right, quick picks. Weezy, what do you got for the quick picks for 287?
Okay, I'm going with Alex Pereira and Still by third round knockout. I got Gilbert Burns by decision. I got Rob Font by decision. I got Kevin Holland by decision. I've got Raul Rosas Jr. by decision. Kelvin Gastelum by decision. Pinheiro by decision. Body Bags Pyfer, second round knockout. Carl Williams, first round knockout. Lupi Godinez by decision. Ignacio Bahamondes by third round submission. Santiago Chile stand up. We got Garcia by decision is what I've written down here, but I'm not sure if that's what I said on just the tip. And then Jacqueline Amorim, first round submission.
All right, I will go with Pereira as well. Give me Gilbert Burns, Adrian Yanez, Kevin Holland, Raul Rosas Jr., Chris Curtis, Michelle Waterson, Carl Williams, Joe Pyfer, Lupi Godinez, Bahamondes, Nerdenbeke, and then Amorim. Gordo, what are your quick picks for this week?
Yeah, should I give some methods just like Weezy? I kind of like that. Main event, we'll go Adesanya by decision. We'll go Gilbert Burns, round one submission. Ooh. We are going to go Adrian Yanez by round two knockout. Sorry. We are going to go Kevin Holland by decision. We are going to go Raul Rosas Jr. by round two submission. We're going to go Kelvin Gastelum by decision. Waterson Gomez by decision. Pyfer by round two knockout. Carl Williams by round one KO. Lupi Godinez by decision. Bahamondes by decision. Shailon Nerdenbeke by decision. And then we're going to go Jacqueline Amorim first round sub.
Sounds good. And then last but not least, we got Monk. What do you got?
Is this thing on?
It's on.
Is this thing on? All right. We're going to go Sam Hughes decision. Wolverine finish. Bahamondes decision. Wow. Sia Monk likes Calvillo decision. Interesting. Joseph Pyfer finish. Carl Williams finish. Pinheiro decision. Chris Curtis decision. I don't know if I like that pick. I'm probably personally on the Gastelum side. Raul Rosas Jr. decision. Interesting. Kevin Holland finish. Yanez decision. Burns decision. And Alex Pereira. I think, were we all on the dog this week? Alex Pereira by finish. Absolutely love that.
I took Izzy.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
This is such a great. Like I said, I don't think it's good for DraftKings, but this main event, man, it's the most exciting fourth fight we've ever seen. I know we probably only have one other one to compare it to, but it's going to be fantastic.
Should be fun for sure. But I'm going to kick it around here. Uncle Weezy, what are your plans for the rest of the week? You going live tonight for some Ask Weezy?
Ask Weezy tonight, 3 hours from now, 10 o'clock Central Time. I'm going to open up the database. You guys can ask me whatever you want to ask me about these fights, any of the stats, any of the over-unders. I got all the numbers. And then we'll do a greasy 4-leg parlay probably on Friday after weigh-ins. Make sure that everybody makes it to the scale before we put these 4 legs together. And then, just enjoy those fights on Saturday. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks. Let's bathe in the blood of our vanquished Draftkings enemies. Let's get it, you guys.
Let's go. Let's go. Gordo, let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on for some content this week.
Yep, my full card picks and predictions, both DraftKings and betting, is now live on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. My post will be, my full card of bets will be posted Friday, so Friday afternoon sometimes. Other content I'll be doing, I will be doing the Daily Fan MMA show with Brett Appley tomorrow, as well as the I'm sorry I forget the name, Lou, but I'll be doing the Same Game Parlay show with Lou on his channel, MMA Engine, as well on Thursday night. So that should be fun there. But I wish everybody the best of luck, guys. Let's make some money.
Let's go. Go check out Gordo. Monk, where can they find you and what do you have going on throughout the week for some 287 content?
287 content. Game Theory has been out on my channel since I think Sunday. Got it's brand new, no more spreadsheet. We've got a different look to it, so be sure to check that out. Hopefully I will get Salary Voodoo out tomorrow, finishing touches tonight, and then just a bit of a programming change. I'm leaving town on Friday to head out of town for Easter for the weekend. So Monk and Lou's happy hour is going to be moved to Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Central Time, 5:30 Eastern. I will have the link out here shortly, but yeah, that is going to be moved from Friday to Thursday afternoon, so a little bit early for you this week. And yeah, I just hope everybody enjoys the fights. I know I will.
Yep, for sure. I'll enjoy them as well. Guys, check me out on my channel, DFS by the Numbers, going live Friday for the final thoughts, and then live once more on Saturday for some best bet. And that's about it. I think we covered everything. If you guys could leave a like, it does help us out a lot. Subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio, and best of luck for UFC 287. It should be a very, very fun card.